Hello, fellow dungeon crawlers. I know I always say we have something special to discuss, but today we have another iconic module that holds a special place in my heart. This is an exciting and unique adventure, and many people love this adventure because of this uniqueness. But there is criticism based on this same uniqueness. So how can an adventure be so well loved and disliked for the same thing? I believe your opinion of this module can be determined on whether or not you think sci-fi should be allowed in heroic fantasy. So basically, should laser pistols be allowed in D&D? If you would like to take a look at S3, Expedition to the Barrierpeaks, then please step inside my dungeon. This adventure was rated number 5 in Dungeon Magazine's Greatest Adventures of All Time. It's another tournament module, and we've already discussed a few. We've discussed the Deadly Tomb of Horrors and the Hidden Shrine of Tomoe-chan. If you're interested, links are in the description. I have a couple more adventure ideas, so if you'd like to show support for the channel, all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, and this will help me bring fresh new content to our community. This adventure was played at the Origins 2 convention in 1976. The module's preface says that the adventure was based on Jim Ward's adventure called Metamorphosis Alpha. TSR thought it would be a great way to introduce players to sci-fi. The module that became the Expedition to the Barrierpeaks was meant to blend sci-fi with fantasy. The adventure takes place in the mountains of Greyhawk. The area is being attacked by strange monsters. Even 4 small fortresses were destroyed, so the party was sent to investigate the rumors of a gated cave that expels monsters. Other parties were sent to investigate, but none returned. That is all the information the party is given for the adventure to begin. There is a spoiler alert now. I will be discussing the overall adventure and picking out only a few of the more interesting encounters to discuss. The dungeon in this adventure is actually a large exploration spaceship with many separate modules, but a plague swept through the entire ship. All the modules in the ship were separated. The section of the ship this adventure takes place in went into a black hole and crashed in the Barrierpeaks in the world of Greyhawk. A subsequent landslide covered this section of the ship. This section of the ship contained an alien zoo with many diverse and interesting monsters. This gives the module a reason to be a sweet, funhouse adventure. First off, let me talk about the art in this module. I think it's some of the best in an old school adventure. The dungeon layout is spread across 2 covers. The covers are used to map the spaceship's 6 circular levels. I've heard that this module be described as a mega dungeon. To me, the levels are large, but not as large as a mega dungeon. Let me know in the comments if you think this adventure is truly a mega dungeon. Like Tomb of Horrors and the Hidden Shrine of Tomoe-chan, this adventure comes with an additional art packet. Like the others, the pictures are numbered, so you could provide those to the players when they encounter the room. These pictures bring life to the adventure. In fact, this packet also comes with 4 fully colored pictures. I remember playing through this adventure and being amazed that my Dungeons & Dragons character was adventuring in a spaceship because of the visuals from this art packet. Let me know in the comments if you had any favorite or memorable pictures. When the party arrives at the location to this adventure, they will see 2 exposed metal doors. There's a small door at the top and a massive door at the bottom. To gain access to the ship, they'll need to use the upper door at the top. The door stays open for 1 hour, then it will close for another 20 and remain open for just another hour. The party will need to adventure within the ship to find an exit through the lower door. As I already said, this adventure is a pretty big multi-level dungeon. Throughout the adventure, the party can find 7 different keycards. Now I'm going to talk about a few of the more interesting encounters. I'm not going to talk about too many in this section. I just want to provide a flavor of what this adventure is like. I thought level 3 was pretty cool. It has a cargo hold and lounges around a large open area. There's also a walkway that surrounds this open area. The open area is inhabited by a colony of webbirds. They are described as beakless birds about the size of a raven. When the party approaches, the birds will try to capture the party with webs. If the birds are successful in capturing a party member, it will not be good. As soon as any individual is held fast by the webs, 1 to 4 of these creatures will fly down upon him or her. Their chest appendage is inserted into the immobile victim's flesh, and the webber commence to deposit their eggs therein. The eggs will hatch in 1 to 6 turns, and their larva-like grubs will begin to devour the host, causing extreme pain. Yikes. My favorite area was the botanical gardens. The module says, immediately upon stepping foot on the deck, it becomes apparent to the party that it is teeming with life. A number of calls, whistles, screams, and similar sounds can be heard. The garden includes a stream, a picturesque bridge, a swamp, and even a beautiful lake. This sounds like a great place to visit. But it is really packed with deadly encounters. Several plants are actually vicious monsters. There is a snapper saw. This plant has a delicious smell and even has visible berries. But if approached, it will snap down with its saw-like stems. Another section is a viewing area. This area is now occupied with 2 dinosaur-like creatures. They can leap great distances and do a good amount of damage. They will attack the party because they have a nest with unhatched eggs. The Vorax is another fierce monster. It has a similar appearance to a badger, but has 8 clawed legs. If it bites down, it will not let go. But I think the most iconic monster in this module is the wolf in sheep's clothing. The players discover a cute little bunny sitting on a tree stump. The rabbit is actually a fleshy growth of a horrific monster. The growth only replicates a rabbit's appearance. When the mouth is approached, tree tentacles will strike and grab the prey and drag them to its vicious mouth with rows of sharp teeth. Let me know in the comments if you had any favorite encounters and how did your players handle it. To me, the most memorable aspect in this adventure were the high-tech weapons and devices. I cherish the items that I found within this adventure, but a Dungeons & Dragons party would not be familiar with these high-tech weapons. So the game had a mechanism for players to use sci-fi devices, but to figure out these devices on their own, it could be problematic. The module provides 4 conditional flowcharts depending on the device's sophistication and lethality. Looking at these charts, I feel like I'm still at work. For these flowcharts, you need to roll a 1d6 with bonuses for high intelligence. Low rolls is what you need to succeed. High rolls can cause a charge to be wasted or even the weapon destroyed. If your players want to use these items, you will need to be successful in rolling through the flowchart. I still remember when I found the blaster, I had no idea what it was used for, and the blaster rifle, that was even more confusing. It had a strange framework leading up to the shoulder. I'm not really sure how this would function as a weapon, but if the party can get it working, it does a fair amount of damage, and could even damage armor and shields. The lasers were really cool designs. They were wrist cuffs. They seemed like weapons to me. The rifle was a larger, more robust version of the pistol. It did have a sweet set of Master System goggles, though. The weapon I loved and coveted the most were the grenades. The explosive gas grenades didn't do too much damage, but I used them to clean out low-level monster layers. The poison gas grenades could be useful too, but I remember I really liked the incendiary grenades. They did a decent amount of damage, but were great for causing fires. I remember using the few remaining grenades I had on some shipborne battles, several adventures later. But what could be even better than grenades? Maybe a set of power armor. As you might know, I am somewhat a fan of Robotech, so you could imagine I loved getting my hands on power armor. The armor does not use power discs, but it could be recharged only on the ship. Let me know if you used any of these weapons in combat. Do you have any favorites? Let me know if you have any cool stories about using these in Dungeons & Dragons. How long were you able to keep them functioning for? As stated earlier, this section of the ship housed the alien zoo, so there are very many interesting creatures. Many of these creatures are staples in Dungeons & Dragons. Watch out for the pack of 5 displacer beasts hunting for prey. There is even an intellect devourer that is trapped between floors and will make a ferocious and nasty foe. In addition to these D&D staples are some crazy new monsters. Since this is a futuristic adventure, there are plenty of androids and robots. The androids are designed to appear as human. They have a cool retro sci-fi design. There are also robots. The police robot can be a tough fight. They have tentacles and they can be used to subdue enemies. They also have built-in lasers and even grenade launchers. They will be a tough fight. If there's a final boss in this adventure, it would be the Mind Flayer. Not only does it have its tentacle mouth and psionic abilities, but this Mind Flayer looks effing cool. This one packs a laser pistol and an assortment of grenades. I love this badass drawing. What is cooler than a Mind Flayer with a laser pistol? I feel this adventure is a true classic, but let me know your thoughts about this adventure if you played it, and if you didn't, does it sound interesting? Feel free to let me know if you just don't think that sci-fi belongs in Dungeons & Dragons. If you made it this far, please give me a like. It would tell YouTube you like what you saw. Let me know what adventure we should discuss next, and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see everybody on the next Dungeon Crawl.